I've decided to end my playthrough of Dream of Five because I'm not having fun with it. Mainly because the level design is extremely boring. It's too bloated, too single-minded, and too easy. Um, I do acknowledge that the game has had a lot of effort put into it. It's just, it's not fun. The story, it's competently written, but I just don't care about any of the characters except for Chester Colbane and Crow, and those are just they're not even particularly delved into. I don't like the main character because she's an asshole, and it just doesn't leave me invested into the plot. As for the level design, I think I already said this, but it's too bloated, too easy, and too single minded. There's a lot of chapters where it's very clear what you're supposed to do, and most of the chapter is just you doing that. Like going from point A to point B. And all you're doing is just fighting enemies along the way. There's no real clever positioning or any reason to really, you know, deviate from that kind of strategy. You're just going through and not splitting up your units unless the game forces you, in which usually it's just a very obligated split up rather than anything that represents challenge. And it's just not fun. Like, I actually played the game without the restrictions I had because Astro Lunasol told me that the level design is better when I'm not putting myself under needless restrictions. And the problem is that it made some chapters a little better, like Chapter 4. I actually ended up liking Chapter 4, but the rest of the chapters that I played just weren't fun. They don't do anything that impresses me. When I play a Fire Emblem hack, I want to see like some sense of creativity and innovation, and the game, it's clear that Astra put a lot of time and effort in timing everything, specifically for LTCers, which is people who try to beat the game in as few turns as possible. But the problem is that there's no foundation. There's just there's a thing, and that's it. There's no. Each chapter doesn't have its own identity. There's like not a theme. I mean, Chapter 3 is probably the closest thing the game ever had to a theme, and it actually explores that idea fairly well. If not for the fact that it's just tedious as fuck. But yeah, Chapter 5 had the Archer gimmick, where there's a whole bunch of walls and narrow hallways, and there's Archer shooting at you, and then you have that really well placed Archer boss, probably the best boss in the entire game even. And then after that, the game just kind of just runs low on it just doesn't have any ideas. It's not enjoyable in any way. Like again, this is another problem, but the visuals completely conflict with the tone of the story as well. Cuz you got this story about like this person being exiled from her homeland and turning into a mercenary and giving up on her ideals, and you have Guile's theme as the winning road theme in the game. You also got these bright, cheery graphics, which just don't go with the tone of the story. The game just doesn't feel cohesive, and well, that's pretty much my opinion of the game as a whole. Um, and that's why I'm going to stop the playthrough and focus on another hack instead. Um, it is the zombie hack by the Emblem Brigade. I looked at some screenshots. I wasn't particularly impressed by the level design, but hopefully I'll be proven wrong. And if nothing else, I heard the game is very funny, so it might make a good playthrough. Who knows? Um, so yeah, there you go. That's the reason why we haven't been getting any updates on the game. I'm just tired of it. So, later.